Hi, I'm Katie Simmonds, Managing Associate at Womble Bond Dickinson.
And I'm Rebecca Keating, a barrister for Pump Court. And in celebration of Business Women's Day, Womble Bond Dickinson, for Pump Court, and the Society for Computers of Law have teamed up to introduce you to a group of inspiring women working in law and tech.
And over the next couple of weeks, we'll be speaking with women from across the law and tech world who have carved out their careers, covering the private practice, in-house, public sector, and the judiciary.
These exceptional women will share their stories, advice, and explore challenges in these bite-sized videos. We do hope you enjoy watching these videos as much as Katie and I enjoy chatting with the speakers.
And on that note, we hope you'll also join us on the 22nd of September, which is International Women's Day, when we will speak with Triple Olympian Fran Halsall on the topic of big goal setting, challenge, and ambition.
Salli Penni, MBE, is a barrister specialising across a variety of different practice areas, including data protection and cybersecurity. She's also chair of the Women in Law UK group and the host of Talking Law. First, can you share a little bit about what you do and what a typical week may look like for you?
Oh, right. Thank you. Hello, I'm Salli Penni, MBE, and I'm a barrister practicing from Manchester, Kenworthy's Chambers, which you can see there. And I'm also a door tenant at 4 Bream Buildings in London. I practice law, criminal law, and employment law, and I also specialise in data protection, cybercrime. And so this is a great group. I think I'm probably too old to join it, aren't I, Rebecca? But a really great group which would have been helpful to me, certainly at the earlier parts of my career. I've been a barrister for 20 years, 21 in October 2021. A typical day for me, crikey, depends where you want me to start, either straight from court or from the house. I have 3 children, so I'm a working mum. And I say that just so that we're painting positive role models and not sort of hiding behind our family commitments and the other aspects of our commitments. Some people are carers for different reasons. So having survived breakfast time and, having to plait French plaits in my daughter's hair, I have 2 boys and a daughter, I will have escaped to go to court and conduct a trial. And I love being in court as a trial advocate because it's the one place when you speak, nobody else speaks. Well, that's at least the aim, isn't it? No judges interrupt. And nobody follows you to the toilet, and nobody interrupts you per se when you're speaking. So my typical day will be in court, conducting a trial, which will start at 10:30, meet the client if I'm defending, and if I'm prosecuting criminal case, I will have gone down to meet the witnesses in the case and indeed the lawyer. If it's an employment case or it's a case I'm prosecuting on behalf of the ICO, for example, then I will meet my lawyer and a caseworker nice and early, hopefully with a coffee, and then have a run through before the day starts. Usually it's a stop at lunch, 1 till 2, and then run through to about 4:35. There have been later sittings as a result of COVID, but a typical day then will mean I finish in court, quick conference I call before I leave, and then go pick up my children. Or in the and then in the evening I'll be doing some seminar or another because I founded Women in the Law UK, which is a professional development organisation for women and men. So I will have been doing an hour's webinar on some subject like well-being or on career development or career advancement. And so generally that's what a typical day-ish would look like. I'd love to say that the lunchtime is spent walking around or maybe doing yoga in the robing room or perhaps in the conference room, just meditating. I'd love to be able to do that, but that's just in my dreams and hopes of one day. It's usually having a black coffee, maybe a walk around the court building, and then back in. I hope that paints a picture of some sort, but the lunchtime usually is trying to book dentist appointments and all the other jobs that I've asked my husband to do, but he hasn't done because he's doing his own work. Okay, so obviously that's a typical court day, but outside of the courtroom, I do a whole variety of things as well. Webinars, I have a podcast called Talking Law, which is about the people in law and perhaps people who haven't had the typical or traditional routes into law. And that seemed to have been listened to by 75,000 people, so goodness knows why. I've also written several books, including a book called Cybersecurity, where I contributed to Bloomsbury. And then I have my own books. I have an employment book on employment rights, not for women and other groups. And my recent book, which I'm excited about, is Penny on cybersecurity data protection law. And it's a really good book because it's not too big. It's a big font, and it's really talking about some of the pitfalls in cybersecurity and some of the information, and a chapter which is about what parents could do, or aunts and uncles, about making sure the young people are safe when they are using the internet. So that comes out on my birthday, actually, in August. I have written a variety of other books as well, including one about unicorns, which I wrote with my daughter, and that was to survive homeschooling. So there's a variety of things I do all round.
What advice would you give to yourself if you could go back in time, let's say to when you were at university?
Wow. I would start by saying have a bit of a plan, and also don't work so hard. I'm not sure I had that much fun at university. I was quite a hard worker. And for me, my parents very much were like, you're a woman and you're black, so you need to work hard. That's very much a message that was drummed into me from a very young age. And especially as I didn't take up my place to read medicine. So I really was going to have to do a great deal more. And so advice for my younger self, firstly, I would say try and have a bit more fun. I would say it would be more balanced. Secondly, have a bit of a plan. And by that, I just mean maybe a plan A, B, C, and allow oneself to be flexible. So, if I would have set a goal and I didn't achieve it by a certain age, not to beat myself around the bush about it, because I think it's very, very important to be downbeaten and trodden when we think we should be achieving things that other people might have for us. So I would say set some goals, but allow flexibility. The last thing I would say is actually think about having a more balanced life. Actually, I mean, this is advice to my younger self as I'm reflecting on it, and maybe do some of the other things, perhaps, maybe do a master's or a PhD, or write a little bit earlier. Now people can blog and so on and so forth. And I came into writing a bit much later, really. And perhaps I wish if I was younger, I was writing more, perhaps writing more about tech and the advent of tech and the technologies which we're using now. And so there's some of the questions, some of the advice I would give my younger self, really. And also, I'm a bit of a late parent, I guess, because I remember with one of my children being called an old mum. And that's if you have a child over 30. Can you believe it? Honestly. So I would just say maybe think about some of the things you want to achieve that are not necessarily in the law. And I think actually, interestingly now, the technologies that we have, and we're a society of computer tech lawyers, means that we can do more than perhaps we thought. We can try and have an international practice than we thought. So I would just, talk to my younger self about looking at the bigger picture and the global picture, and maybe not becoming an older mum, as I was called, which I thought was quite funny.
Finally, Salli, how important do you think female role models are for organisations, and why?
Well, I think female role models are crucial. As we record this, you may have seen, Rebecca, I posted on LinkedIn, which is my platform of choice, if you like, about for the first time in Wales, the Court of Appeal sat in Wales with 3 women, lady justices, one of whom was Lady Justice Nicola Davies, who's a bencher like myself in Gray's Inn. And that post that I wrote, a little bit more than that, if I may say so, has received over 22,000 views, and I can't remember how many comments because I don't read them all, I'm afraid, because it did touch a nerve, like we should be celebrating this, and it was called Girl Power. I think crucial. I think the optics are important, and I really believe you can't be what you don't see. There's a perception that we're doing okay, and of course things are so much better now. They are. I'm not ancient, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be giving you stories of no maternity leaves or anything of that sort. No, I'm early 40s. So those things were in place to an extent. But we need female role models in all aspects of the law, really, particularly in the senior decision-making positions. And I remember the days when I would go for pupillage interview and there's hardly any women. Now, the majority of people entering the bar, or indeed our solicitors' profession, are more women. It's about 52%, if I recall correctly, for solicitors. And at the bar, I think we're about 51%, but I stand to be corrected happily. But that's entrance. But the attrition rate is still not great, and the retention is pretty poor. Women are still leaving for a variety of reasons, and I think we need to do something about that. Part of that is that we haven't got sufficient women in senior roles who are visible role models. And I think if we did, the improvements and the differences and the progress that we talk about that has been made would be even better. There's a great deal of way to go, and a lot more for us to achieve. And so female role models are crucial, and the leadership of those female role models is crucial, and the leadership types. So collaborative type of leadership is really important in our organizations. And the reason is this teaches us that we can be authentically us as women, as well as leaders. And that doesn't just fall to us as women. I think we need male allies as well, advocating for women in senior roles and in leadership roles as well. I have often said this. I think it was a lawyer who quoted me into saying this, and I'll repeat it. I think men and women are our left and right hand. We need both of us to drive change. It's no good for women just to be talking to our own groups, perhaps people who are sympathetic to our causes on race, on gender, on LGBTQ issues. We need allies wherever we can get them. And that means having true male allies who can actually advocate for us as well. So the visibility is crucial, and role modeling is crucial. But as I say, real role models. It is no good having people who are working in offices and organizations but leaving at 1 o'clock in the morning. That sends a poor message to those who are coming behind us. We need to be real role models, and we need to own it. And I have to say, maybe I am a leader, I don't know, certainly a senior junior, but I have attended sports days in a suit before, managed to win the race, and then left. So, I think we have to take leadership in as many different ways, and collaborative leadership as well, where it comes. So I think it's really important for women and for young men to see that, there are women who are progressing and advancing as role models for both genders, really.
Salli, thanks for taking the time to speak today. That was really wonderful. Speak again soon.